Steve, let's dive into this Pac-12 thing. I got to ask you, man. The Pac-12 is now going to be the half dozen Pac-6 with 4 teams that I don't really find very interesting. My let me tell you like this: my zipper don't move. I'll tell you right now, my zipper ain't moving. I'm not very excited. Colorado State is not a very good football program. Boise State is not the Chris Peterson-led Boise State that beat Oklahoma and Alabama. We know this. Fresno, Jeff Tedford resigns 2 months ago. They go up to Big House in Michigan, play them tough. And then you got Coach Lewis, who just took over San Diego State. Those teams don't excite me on the West Coast, even though, Steve, Wazoo, Cal, Arizona State have gone out to the SEC and won games and are undefeated right now. This gives us 6 teams in the Pac-12 or Pac-6, whatever you want to call it. This doesn't excite me, though. If you would have got a Baylor, Steve, or a Texas Tech to actually say, you know what, because years ago, Steve, that was an actual discussion. Maybe still Utah back. I'd be a little happier, but where are you at?
Well, that's not going to happen. I mean, look, they're trying to survive. I still think they need 2 more teams to get accreditation as a conference. The question then becomes Stanford and Cal. I don't know if they want back in. They're big on the academics until the athletic money rolls in. I mean, I looked at them as part of the problem of why the Pac-12 dissolved. They wanted to be all this about academics and we're not a business until the business broke apart, and then they latched onto the ACC. The arrogance of those two, and they weren't the only ones, but the arrogance of those 2 institutions to hold their nose out at the sanctity of education, and then the fact that we are about finer learning, and they didn't realize you're in the business of college football. And then they became refugees. And I don't know. Look, it just makes no sense for them to be in the ACC. I look at some of their scheduling, and these guys have to go back and forth through the country, play Florida State, then come back. And then Miami has to go to Cal in a couple weeks. There's 1 week where Stanford, I think, has to go to Syracuse. And then the very next week, they're going right back 3,000 miles. And I don't know if they're going to allow them to just stay out there, given the fact that they are student athletes in theory. But look, you have to do what you have to do to survive. I don't really hate the move. I hope these programs can be elevated, but now they still have to find 2 other schools to join this conglomerate.
How about if I told you UNLV, Hawaii? What do you
think?
I
mean, look, this is all about TV, television markets, content, and then you got to get yourself a broadcast partner. And look, there may be a market where you're going to need West Coast Pacific time zone games to fill that block. After, for us, it's 4:30. So those games end at 8. And if you start these games at 7:30, they're going to have to find a broadcast partner. I heard there's already interest. I read some stories. So then you build it. That's how you do it. It is what it is. You have to make the best of a very, very bad, unfortunate situation.
Let me ask you this. If I was a commissioner or whoever this is and trying to figure this out, I know TV is a huge thing. I think they really missed out on a BYU opportunity a couple years ago. But let's just say Air Force. If I threw Air Force, Army, and get those 2 teams in the Pac-12 or whatever we're going to call it, add UNLV and Hawaii with those 4 teams we just showed, is it even formidable still even then?
I mean, here's the problem. Right? I'd rather just keep this all West Coast.
Yeah.
Why are you adding Army, Navy? They're kind of like they're 3,000 miles away, and these teams probably don't have the unlimited budget. I still believe
Air Force would be the team, I guess. Then.
Yeah, but I still believe that conferences should be geographically centered, but they're not anymore. It is what it is. But I don't know if Army and Navy even really want to be in a conference. I don't know how they feel about all of this. I mean, they have different priorities, I think, than most Division I football programs.
So, Steve, what's happening with the Mountain West? You're so much knowledgeable.
No, I'm really not. I watch games. I'm not an insider. I'm just a guy that watches games.
No, but
whatever happens.
But geographically, though, so San Jose State, Air Force, Colorado State, all those guys are still the old Mountain West, correct?
I assume so. Look, Coach, there's nothing we can do about this. Just lay back, and whatever happens, happens. Like boxing fans always ask me about fights happening, and I said, guys, I no longer care. Whatever they schedule, I will cover and get paid for. And enjoy it or not enjoy it. I don't understand people get so emotional over it. I'm just like, guys, if you don't like the fight, don't watch or buy it. Trust me, I'm good.